Gabe Kapler. He's basically like the Ed Hockley of baseball right now. You want to know why there's so many mound visits? It's because he wants to show off the guns. Kyle Gaffner and Tony Del Grasso are both here. I'm Adrian Fedku. At least that's my only explanation. I don't know. 21 pitchers in 28 innings. Kind of a mess for an opening series as a debut. What do you guys think?
It was a rough start for the Phils. I know a lot of people are calling for his head. I was not happy with what he did in the first game, but it's still a little too early to bringing out the pitchforks and calling for his head to get him fired. That's a little too much.
I just kind of had to laugh because what we saw, the result didn't work out, but it is exactly what all three of us and a lot of other people predicted. Kapler is going to do things on an almost nightly basis that's going to piss a lot of old people off, particularly old men. And that's exactly what's going on. If you've listened to the radio in the Philadelphia area the past couple of days, half of the city wants him fired already after 3 games. We are less than 2%.
It might be like 75%. No,
yeah, we are less than 2% through the season, 1.8% to be exact. So, I'm not going to be able to defend a couple of the moves he's made, but I will try to defend some of them. So let's get it going.
Yeah, we'll get into that. First thing we're going to get into, Aaron Nola, 68 pitches. He's breezing along, and he gets pulled. What do you guys think?
I didn't understand this move. I thought that was an awful decision by Gabe to pull him out. If he's not struggling with any of the batters and he let up 1 base hit and you pull him even at 68 pitches, I thought that was a little too premature. You got your ace up there. He could easily go for maybe 100 pitches. It's the first game of the season. You should have just let your ace go out there and take care of business.
All right, so I'll preface this by saying this probably isn't the move I would have made. I probably would have let him finish the inning, but I will defend him now by at least trying to explain his reasoning. So Aaron Nola had only pitched 4 innings his last spring training start. He wasn't completely stretched out like the announcers were saying. And I'm not sure if it was Kapler or somebody basically said that they only wanted him to go 80 pitches anyway. All right, so he was at 68. So 6th inning comes around. He gets the first batter. He was supposed to be able to get the second batter, but then he walked him. All right, then who comes up next? Let's just think about this logically for a second. Left-handed Freddie Freeman, who's probably a top 15 hitter in baseball right now, who's also hit well against Nola. Do you really want to give him another shot? Now, like I said, it wouldn't have been my decision. And you could argue, well, worst case scenario, he hits a 2-run home run. Well, he ended up hitting a 2-run home run, and it was against a left-handed hitter. Now, the thing about it, though, again, to understand where Kapler's coming from, he's going matchup by matchup. He's already at 68 pitches. You only were expecting him to go maybe another 12 tops anyway. So instead of giving Freeman another shot against Nola, he decided to bring in a lefty and have the lefty-on-lefty matchup. And actually, Miller's numbers against Freeman up until that pitch were really good. Freeman was 0 for 5 against him. So if you look at it from that perspective, that's what he was thinking, all right? He was trying to protect Nola long-term. No reason to have him pitch 100 pitches opening day. They had a 5-run lead. He thought the bullpen would be able to get them 11 outs without giving up 5 runs. Is that really too much to ask? I don't think so. I think asking a bullpen to give you 11 outs without giving up 5 runs is anything a contending baseball team should be able to do. Now, granted, obviously it didn't work out. It looked bad. He left some other relievers in there too long later in the game. But the Nola decision, if you actually think about it, really wasn't that ridiculous.
But Tony, go ahead, Adrian. I didn't.
I was just going to say, I already made a video on this already. And what I said was this. I was like, well, if the bullpen doesn't blow it, we're not even talking about this. So
exactly.
But also, I would have gone with him a little bit longer because if you have the foresight to understand that you don't have Arrieta yet, you don't have Eichhoff yet, you got a guy in Velasquez that struggles to get past 5 innings. So you got a starting pitching staff that isn't there yet, obviously. So you're going to need your bullpen for these final 2 games of the set. So I would like to see Nola pitch a little bit longer, but if the bullpen gets these outs, which they should have, to be quite honest with you, the bullpen isn't getting enough negativity here. Well, now they are, I guess, because of how bad the series played itself out. But that's where I'm looking at. I'm like, your bullpen should be able to get you 11 outs without giving up 5 runs, and that's where I agree with Tony.
And also, that's the reason they have 9 bullpen guys on the roster right now. Most teams, traditionally, teams carry 7. They have an extra 2. That's the whole reasoning why, so they can pull their pitchers in the 5th or 6th inning and go all these matchups. This is going to go on all season long. These Phillies games are going to take forever. So if you're listening, just be prepared. This is not going to change.
Kyle, got anything else?
Well, it could be bad for baseball because they're trying to speed up the game and not extend it. And if you're going to go matchup by matchup, then it's just going to drag these games out. And you might lose on top of the old people, like you said, that like to watch traditional baseball. It's going to irritate them to see types of moves like this possibly. But what I want to get back to what I was trying to say was if Nola was – the only guy on the Braves team that could really hurt you is Freddie Freeman. And if Nola took care of him the first couple innings, I would have just let him take out Freddie Freeman, okay? Even if he did hit a 2-run home run, which he did anyway, then you live with that decision. But he had taken care of him the past couple innings, so I would have just left him in maybe, like you said, maybe for one more batter. I mean, he could let up that one hit, or was it a walk? I can't remember at this point.
The only thing I would say just to counter that is you look at Nola's numbers, and, I mean, really, you look at any Major League pitcher's numbers other than, fucking Clayton Kershaw and those guys, every single pitcher, their numbers go down drastically when they face the lineup the third time around. So that's the only thing I would say to that. And that's part of Kapler's whole shtick. That's part of the Astros and Dodgers' whole shtick. You look at, again, other than guys like Clayton Kershaw, they rarely let their pitchers face the lineup the third time around. So that was also part of
the opening day where the starters wouldn't go through the order the third time. We saw that a lot.
Yeah. Right.
It is the opening.
But in terms of what you were saying about slowing the game down and stuff, I totally agree. I feel like we've all been saying this for years now. It's not baseball's doing all these things, all these pace of play stuff, and it's all really just bullshit. The main reason these games are taking forever is the number of pitching changes. It's not that pitchers are taking longer to throw the ball or batters are taking longer to get into the box. It's the fact that every team is making a million pitching changes every game.
And that's why they instituted that rule, too, that the skip can only go out there 6 times throughout each game, so it could kind of speed it up and you don't have this, every
– Yeah, but you could still make a change after 6, though. If you go out after 6, then you have to make a change.
Well, that
so basically, like that rule – that rule basically only means that you're allowed to – you could go out there as many times as you want without taking them out. So after the 6th time, yeah. So that's what I mean. That rule, like, it doesn't really do anything. It's all these rules that they're having. It's just like fugazi to make people think that the game is going to be sped up, when in reality, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
Kyle, got anything else?
And it should. And I wanted to touch on your point. You said, they're trying to mimic the Indians and the Astros. The only difference between us and those two organizations is they've got really good bullpens.
Yes, they do.
And we don't. So by doing that, it's just you got to have faith in your guys that get that. And he's definitely a players type manager, which is awesome, a good skip. But you've got to know your weaknesses of your guys too. And then this is a big weakness for the Phillies. And if this continues to happen, I mean, he's trying to conserve pitchers. Our bullpen's going to be worn out by the middle of April, guys, because they're getting a lot of work in here, and they're getting hit around a lot.
Let's also not forget, though, that the Phillies' 2 best bullpen guys were hurt.
Yes.
Neshek and Tommy Hunter. So that's another factor.
Neshek in that first game? I was just like, what was it because he was?
He's hurt. He's hurt. That's
Well,
why.
I know he's hurt. But it's like, come on, like we've got to. It's and Hector Neris, like I said before in our first Phillies video, I don't think he can be the closer. I don't think he's got the gumption. I don't think he's got the stuff to be the closer. So I think he's got to be a setup guy. We got to put somebody else out there that's going to be able to shut games out for us.
Yeah, I don't think Kapler is ever going to designate a closer per se. I think there's going to be different guys pitching in the ninth inning all year long.
Probably.
That could be something else that he does, yeah, because he might have that mindset of put your best pitcher out there when the situation presents itself.
Yeah.
You know, say like
if the other team's 3, 4, 5 is coming up in the 8th inning, you'd rather have your best pitcher then, and then somebody else in the 9th.
Yeah. All right.
Well, the heart of the order.
Something that would help speed the game up is if you don't go to the mound and your goddamn pitcher isn't ready in the bullpen. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. What was that?
I don't know. I don't know if Gabe lost something, lost his card, or forgot if there was anybody out there or not, but that's a huge mistake. I don't think that's ever happened in baseball. I've never seen that for all the years I've watched baseball, played baseball. I have never witnessed that in my life.
Actually, that I saw this on Twitter, so I don't know how accurate it is, but a similar thing happened in 2014 with the Brewers. But yeah, I've never seen it in person. I've never seen it on TV. I've never even seen it at like the high school or little league level. I mean, that's kind of baffling. It's kind of baffling that he didn't notice nobody was warming up as he walked out to the mound. Like I said, I will defend Kapler on most issues, but this is something I simply can't defend. And to give the guy credit, he at least took responsibility for it. He took full blame. Who knows what actually happened? There was obviously some kind of miscommunication, but regardless, it absolutely falls on Kapler, and that can absolutely not happen again.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say. I will give him credit for owning up to it, taking responsibility, because there's a lot of people right now that want to compare him to Chip Kelly. Well, if this happened with Chip Kelly, he would have found somebody to blame.
Yeah, he's a guy that throws everybody under the bus, and you got to give Cap credit for taking the blame. You know, whose else fault would it be other than him? You know, that's why they got the player cards to see who is what's going on out there, see if there's any live arms out in the bullpen. But he owned up to it, and, you know, saying he's Chip Kelly is just blasphemy.
Yeah.
I also think we should actually, in this case, give the umpire credit, because if the umpire wanted to, he could have not allowed Milner to warm up at all and just had him go out there cold. And I don't know if you saw the quote. He basically said, yeah, I let him warm up because I didn't want to, fuck with this guy's health.
Yeah.
So, normally umpires suck, but in this case, he made the right call.
Another thing we saw in that game, Pedro Florimon pitched in the 8th inning, and after the game, Gabe Kapler suggested that this is something that the Phillies might be doing more of this season. Florimon pitched, basically had some like bullpen work during spring training. So as you guys answer this question, I'm going to take some lovely bites out of this cheesecake because it's delicious.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, why waste a good arm that's going to either – because usually when that happens, you would either start an arm from, the next day if you have nobody left. But if it's a blowout, why waste that starting pitcher's role and then just throw a guy out there that's going to try to get some outs and just hope? We saw it with Jeff Francoeur, and we saw it with Wilson Valdez back in the day. Hopefully – well, we don't know if Gabe's going to do this in game-time situations, if it's close or if it's just only in blowouts. We might see a little bit of both. But hopefully it's just in blowout situations.
Yeah, I think we're only going to see it in blowout situations. I don't think we're ever going to it's one of those things where, again, you scratch your head at first, but then you take a step back and see the logic behind it. And, yeah, if it's a blowout in the 8th inning, why waste one or two guys' arms when you could just throw out a position player and not have to worry about it? So that's really all it comes down to. He's definitely taking the long-term approach with this. And it's something that old white men aren't going to like, but tough shit for them.
I'm glad you guys brought that up because he was taking a lot of heat for that quote, especially from the post-game live crew where you had Rob Ellis and Ricky Batalico and Ben Davis. I mean, they ripped that apart. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, if he's just trotting out Pedro Florimon when it's a blowout and not wasting an arm, I actually kind of agree with that. So he was getting a lot of unnecessary flack. We'll see how he winds up utilizing Florimon, but I really think it's only going to be when the game is out of reach and you don't want to waste an arm.
Yeah.
Can I say something like that?
Yes, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I still have cheesecake.
Yeah, I just want to say something that's probably unpopular. I think Ben Davis is a fucking idiot. And I would rather, again, this is going to be extremely unpopular, I would rather have Chris Wheeler. I miss Chris Wheeler. Okay? I fucking do.
Good
okay?
old Buffett.
Because the
Buffett
thing with Chris Wheeler, at least you would learn something from Chris Wheeler. He would at least tell some kind of anecdote from 1965 that would either make you chuckle or whatever, or you would learn something from him. Ben Davis has been the analyst for what? This is his second or third season now, and I haven't learned a single fucking thing from him. There was a reason he was the number 2 overall pick and was the epic failure he was. The only reason he has the job is because he's a Malvern Prep kid from the Philly area, and he has great hair. That's the only reason he has a job.
Yes, and he has great hair. I have fantastic hair. Why don't I have a job? My beard looks sexy as fuck. Why don't I have a job?
You should have went to Malvern.
You're too angry.
I am angry. I should have went to Malvern Prep. You're right, Kyle.
That's what should have happened. Go to one of the prep schools. St. Joe, Malvern Prep, one of the big ones. One of the big private schools that has lots of money.
There you go. All right. The next thing I want to say is this. Because if there is one thing that I am worried about down the line, it would be this. So let's say that Gabe Kapler keeps experimenting with all these different things, and the Phillies wind up getting off to a really, really horrendous start. I would be worried about him losing the team. That's my one big worry about all this is if they really get off, say like, I don't know, say they get off to like 10-30 or something. Not that would happen, but they get off to 10-30, all of a sudden the players in the clubhouse are like, all right, this experiment isn't working. I really don't want to play for this guy anymore. Do you see that potentially being a problem?
I think he's got enough sense. I think he has the ability to bring these guys in and be able to lift them out of that. I mean, he's Mr. Positivity. He's a player's coach, or Skip, I should say. I don't think he would lose that. I think he's got enough because he's been in their situations. He's a player. He used to play in the big leagues. So, no, I don't think he'd have that issue.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. I don't think it would be that quick because I think the players in the locker room understand what's going on. They obviously know Kapler a lot better than we do. They've been around him all spring training. And like Kyle said, Kapler was a player for, 10, 12 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it would take a lot longer for him to lose the team. But if it's late August and they're, 25 games under 500, then eventually, they're going to tune him out.
I think the higher-ups would be more or less to turn on him than the players. I'm sorry, Tony. I didn't mean that.
No. The only thing I would say to that is I still think Klentak has 100% confidence in Kapler. And those two work hand in hand. Mm-hmm. There's, management is very much in the dugout anymore. That's pretty much across baseball. So, where back in the day, a guy like, Billy Martin or even Charlie Manuel, if you want to go back not very far, they had full control of game day. It's not really like that anymore. The GM knows what's going on, and he actually, has say. And I feel like Klentak almost even has a little bit of say in lineups and stuff, and he'll probably never admit that, but these two guys are working in conjunction with each other.
All right, so the opening series is now out of the books. They get to move forward. What would you like to see from Gabe Kapler, and what would you like to see changed, I guess?
Ooh. Go ahead, Tony.
I mean, this is going to sound snarky, but I hope he warms up his pitchers before he goes out to the mound, obviously. I mean, really nothing. Like honestly, like I said, like I at least understood what he was thinking most of the time, even though most of the time it didn't work out. I don't think there's any reason after 3 games for him to change his style or change what he believes. There's a reason he was hired. They hired him knowing damn well he was going to do stuff like this. Give him some time. Let's see what happens. That's really all I have to say.
And I would just say I'd like to see him, if there is a situation like, because in that first game too, he also took out Rhys Hoskins. Now, if you're going to have enough confidence to have him in there part of the game, just leave him out there. I know you want to take him out for defensive reasons, but if you remember, after we scored those 5 runs, the offense was completely flat, and then you take your best hitter out of the lineup. That kind of puts you in a hole a little bit. But I think he outthought himself in that first game. He should have you got to find, like we had said, find the balance between old school and the new school. But it's just, you got to just have confidence in yourself and in your players and in your system, which I think he has no issue with. But I think he overthought that first game.
I think the thing with Nolan is the fact that it was opening day. Like, I would think that if it's later on the year, he would pitch more. He would get more, like, say, go 7 innings or something. So I will say that in Kapler's defense. And like Kyle was saying, I mean, that's kind of the video I made the other day, finding that balance between progressiveness and traditional thinking. And, there's a lot of progressive thinking right now, and maybe he needs to – kind of back off a little bit. But, it's only 3 games in. It looks really bad because of who they lost to. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is complete dog shit. And they lost 2 out of 3 to them, and one of those was a 15-2 defeat. So that's like the reasoning behind everybody wanting his head right now. But in this whole scheme of things, it's just 1 series.
All right.
Yeah, just the timing of everything really sucks, especially for Kapler, because if this had happened in the middle of August, I mean, it would have made news, but people would have forgot about it really quick.
Nobody's paying attention.
The fact that it was opening day, and now that they were snowed out today, gives everybody another 24 hours to talk about it. It's just one of those things. Yeah, he had a rough start. I'm sure everyone out there has, sucked at their job at first and then gotten better as it went on. So he'll get better.
Well, it's all that if he learns from his mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, to give him credit, he's already, first step to learning is admitting your mistakes. And he's already admitted the mistakes he's made and took responsibility for it. Mm-hmm. So that's a good sign, I think.
See, that to me is like Doug Peterson. There's more of a Doug Peterson comparison here than Chip Kelly. Because Doug Peterson at times looked pretty bad his first year, and he was able to admit fault and learn from his mistakes. Even earlier this season, after week 2, when LeGarrette Blount didn't get 1 single carry, what happened in the New York game? He fed Blount the ball. He started running the ball more. It was a 50% ratio for the rest of the season. So can Kapler learn from his mistakes? We'll see. Because with Chip Kelly, he was stubborn all the time. He had to make his system work. It was all about his system. He was never going to tweak it. He was never going to change it. He was going to keep being the same old Chip Kelly over and over and over again. I don't think we're going to see that out of Gabe Kapler, and that's why I think the comparison is stupid.
Yeah, that's horrible. You look at Chip Kelly, he's got a huge ego. I don't see Kapler having ego. I see him as being confident, but not an egotistical little Napoleon like Chip Kelly was. I feel like he wanted to have the camera all up in his face all the time, drama. I don't see that coming out of Kapler at all.
Yeah, I mean, I said it before. I think the Kelly-Kapler comparison is just lazy. It's ignorant. It really makes no sense other than the fact that both did stuff that, from a traditional standpoint was not exactly the way things are usually done.
Yeah. All right. So any bright spots from the opening series? Anything?
I think the offense was something to talk about. Last year we had struggled to score runs, but you look at the series, we were getting runs across the plate. I thought the bats, for how negative the pitching staff has been brought into light, I thought the offense has been very pleasant to watch, actually.
Kyle, I'm going to give you one chance. Do you still think Reese is only going to hit 20 home runs? Or what did you say, 22?
I said 22.
Dude,
nope, I still say
pretty good, man.
I'm still saying in the 20s. I'm still saying in the 20s. Again, I hope he proves me wrong. It's going to be awesome, but that's okay. I just think his numbers will be down. I'm saying he wasn't going to be getting his BA still going to be up there. He's still going to be hitting doubles or what have you. I just don't think his numbers will be in the 40 range just yet.
That's fair. No, I was just messing with you. I think Hoskins is obviously the bright spot, and so is Kingery too.
Yeah, I was going to mention Kingery.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else to say about anyone.
I'll tell you what, pitchers.
It's three games, and we're really just we're nitpicking if you get into anything else really.
Yeah,
it's 3 games.
Well, the thing about Kingery, man, pitchers are going to have to wear shin guards because everything's rolled up the middle, right through the box. He's going to hit somebody this year. Somebody's going to get drastically hurt from a Scott Kingery base hit up the middle. And then Rhys Hoskins, I mean, Tony, you talked about it. Rhys smashing the ball into pieces. Reese's Pieces, baby. So those two, definitely the bright spots for the Phillies. I agree with that. So other than that, I mean, there's not really much else to say. A lot of nitpicking of Kapler, but there are bright spots on the offense. So I will go there, and we'll see how they bounce back. You got the Mets now. You got 3-game set. Well, actually, I guess it's down to a brief 2-game set with the makeup game now scheduled for July, I believe it is. So we'll see if they can bounce back against New York.
And they'll be going against Syndergaard still. Oh, no, Syndergaard won't be the pitcher when we face them then. So I'm wondering who's going to be the pitcher for when we are going to face them. When is it? Do we play them tomorrow?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Depending on the weather. So we get to miss out on Syndergaard, which is awesome.
Actually, I kind of think they're off tomorrow because that was the built-in. Or maybe not. Don't they usually?
I'll look.
Sometimes teams have that built-in off day after opening day in case the weather doesn't hold up.
So they do play them tomorrow at 7.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. That's why
they beat me to it, Kyle.
In July. Yeah.
So they'll just, make that.
I don't know. I just want to say I'm still confident that this team is a wild card contender.
Yeah, for sure. We got to beat up teams like Atlanta Braves and the Mets. And Nola will be pitching then, it says, tomorrow against Seth Lugo. So I think we should be able to beat up on that team, hopefully.
Oh, he's terrible. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Freaking, they played 3 games and Nola's going to pitch now again because of the rain out, the snow out, whatever it was. Actually, that is something that we forgot to talk about is after the game, Gabe Kapler, still said, we're going to be in the postseason. We're making the playoffs. And I like it. I like the confidence. Ricky Bottalico gave him a hard time for it. I don't really care. I like the confidence. What's he supposed to say, Ricky? Come on, dude.
Exactly. And he should know that.
The guy's, 42? If he started changing his mind because of 3 bad games, that would be more of a red flag to me.
He's just got to hone out that noise. Don't pay attention to the media, what they're going to say. They're going to bash him. Just stick to what he knows best, and that's baseball, analytics, and baseball.
Yeah.
I saw a good tweet. I forget who it was, but somebody said that if Kapler's smart on opening day at Citizens Bank Park on Thursday, he'll wear a Nick Foles jersey. And then somebody said he should probably wear his helmet too.
Oh man, I guess the other thing I didn't bring up either is he going to be using analytics too much? Because again, this goes back to like that balance between progressiveness and traditional thinking. I don't think you can strictly go by numbers all season long. At some point, you're going to have to use your gut too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to have to at some point. And if this continues to be a snowball effect and we continue to get blown out or what have you, or he continues to use the bullpen really early. But let's be fair. 2 of those games he had to use the bullpen early because the starting pitches were just they had 70 pitches, 80 pitches in 2.5 innings. So, if you really look at it, it was only that first game that he had to think outside the box and use his analytics by taking Aaron Nola out and Rhys Hoskins. But you got to use your gut at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think analytics will always be a factor into his decisions, but I think Kyle's right. He'll eventually find that happy medium, and if he doesn't, he won't be successful. Because as much as I myself am a believer in analytics, I understand it's not 100% of the game. You still have to, there still is the human aspect of it.
Yeah, because it's like interesting that he makes lineups 6 days in advance. Like if there's a guy that's hot, wouldn't you want to keep him in the lineup? I mean, I don't know if his lineups are. I don't know too much ahead. That like is he going to make changes to the lineups if a guy stays hot? Like I would think that you'd want.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think those are etched in stone.
Okay.
I think
that's what I wanted to know. That's what I'm looking for.
I think it's more so for for example, like Herrera sat out opening day and obviously wasn't happy about it, as he shouldn't have been. But if you're Herrera and you see then, all right, look at the next 6 games or I'm starting the next 5 games. All right, that's not. I understand. It's what I mean. It's more for like the players' mind and so the players can get ready than anything. I like that he does that actually. I think that's smart.
As long as they're not etched in stone and he's not taking like a hot bat out of the lineup, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I don't think, and I think Hoskins and Santana are going to be in the lineup every day. It's everywhere else that they're going to mix and match.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. All right, that's it from me. You guys got anything else?
No, I pretty much said everything I needed to say.
Yeah, I got off my chest what I needed to.
See, the Bitter Birds is very therapeutic. I'm psychologist FedQ over here.
It is. I'm literally in a rocking chair right now, just like
rocking back and forth. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Tony Del Grasso. We got Kyle Gaffner. I am Adrian FedQ. Hopefully you guys have calmed down and you don't want to fire Gabe Kapler just yet. We're out. Peace.
Peace.